Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of SugarTalk. I am DJ and your co-host.
Nicky Mick in the building.
All right, let's kick it off. What are we thinking?
I'd like to start with the NBA refs, man. It's very soft. Technicals left and right. Everything's a foul. It's really, the game doesn't look good. It's not entertaining.
Doesn't feel right. I know.
It does.
I'm
It
getting
doesn't.
that too.
There's just too many technicals, man. Everything. And some players do deserve them. Some are a little intense. But I think some of these calls are just so unnecessary. It's truly terrible.
100%. That Celtics game the other night was just baffling.
Oh my God, that call was terrible. I just don't.
What was it? So that overturn, first of all, it was pretty controversial. Even LeBron James tuned into that one.
LeBron James tunes into everything. I mean, come on. Everything. He has a comment on everything.
Yeah. I mean, clearly got whacked in the head there, but
yeah.
Referees, they see what they want to see lately in the NBA. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just like, if you're going to call all these calls, that's fine. It is what it is. That's the officiating crew. But there's sometimes they're calling it on one side and not the other. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that.
100%.
You have to be fair. If you're not fair, then there's no point in calling either side. Call it on both sides of the ball. Call it on both teams.
Yeah, honestly, that's why lately I've been watching college basketball over NBA. It's just
college.
It's so soft. I can't watch. I don't like watching it.
It is. It really is. It's gotten worse as it goes on. You watch an NBA game, it's all 3-pointers. These guys are just chucking up threes. Everybody wants to be on the highlight reel. The only reason I watch NBA is obviously Celtics games. So I'm a Celtics fan, and I bet on it. Shout out Underdog Fantasy. But that's the only reason I do it, because I bet on it. Other than that, I think college, these kids have more heart.
They just play. They play for the game.
They do.
The game itself.
They really do.
It's just, It's so sad in the NBA, really, because the refs are calling it, so the game is just gradually becoming weaker, and it's, in a way, it's almost annoying to watch certain players play. You know what I mean? They're always looking for a foul now, and I hate that.
Yeah. After every layup, they're like, "What? Like, I'm saying it. Just play the game. It's because what the problem is. Because they're not used to driving and take a layup. So they get a little contact and they're like, "Oh God, it's the foul." But it's just soft. College, these kids have more to play for. They have their futures on the line with getting into the NBA. And then once you get to the NBA, you get a bag thrown at you, and they're like, "All right, we're good." Start chucking up threes, But
a good example of how college has been playing rough. I don't know if you've seen any Seton Hall games lately.
I haven't. I don't tune into college till about around this time, so I haven't started watching yet, because obviously I get ready for March Madness and all that.
They've been taking down ranked teams left and right over and over again. And the reason for that is they are playing hard basketball, physical basketball, and the refs are letting them play. Like, they are letting them get away with some stuff.
As they should. I mean, it's the game, man. These are contact sports. Obviously, basketball is a little less contact than the others, but still, I mean, you see a lot more. I don't know if you noticed. You see a lot more offensive fouls too. I've noticed. Like, everything's 100%. A charge. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of blocking fouls. People are trying to take charges, which I like. Some guys want to take a charge, put their body out on the line. Go ahead. I mean, you're making a play for your team, especially late in the game. You're down by 2 or 3, a couple buckets, whatever, and you make that play. That can change the game.
100%. Now, how do you propose they help this NBA just gradually become softer with these referees and the terrible reffing generally?
You're saying, how would I fix it?
How would you fix it?
Let them play. Let them play the game. Some plays obviously are a foul. Fouls are part of the game. They're just a little too many fouls. So, my thing would just be play it out a little more. Don't be so, I don't know. Don't call a foul right away.
Yeah, I got to say something similar to that. But it's just, I can understand from the referee's perspective how it's just like if some certain fan base disagrees with you, you get a lot of hate. But I know a couple people who are refs of not NBA, but a little lower than that, and they just call what they see and they think is awkward. And with the way the NBA reviews calls, there shouldn't be so much speculation around this stuff. And I don't know. Do you think it's a training thing? Do you think they could be trained better?
I don't know. Reffing is a hard job, I'd say. It's not easy, definitely. But some of these guys are just calling too many fouls, They're just a little too soft. But, at the end of the day, what are you going to do about it? They're the ones calling the shots,
Exactly. Literally.
I think if I'm the NBA, Adam Silver, he needs to make a comment on this. I don't think he will, but he should. He should address it, but I highly doubt he will.
Yeah, it's kind of like his motto. Like,
let
things float until
they
really become necessary to tune into.
He's very go with the flow, what everybody else likes, I like type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He doesn't want people to be mad at him. He's very like, all right, I got yeah. Well, I think Goodell runs the NFL better than Silver runs the NBA.
Oh, 100%.
But even Goodell's, not my favorite. But
I don't want to get too much into this, but I think that the NFL should 100% implement that call review. Because I don't see a world where it shouldn't exist.
What are you talking
the
about?
NBA, if there's a poor call, or a call, the other team has a right to challenge the penalty.
That's
the foul.
Yeah, but the NFL teams have challenges. That's the point of a challenge.
No, but they can't challenge penalties. They need that.
I don't think so. I don't think there's a lot of problems with flags in the NFL. I really, not that I've seen. I really don't think. I think calls that are made are pretty good about 95% of the time.
Well, that other 5% there have been a few times like.
Give me an example.
I don't know if you
remember. You're coming in with this observation. Give an example.
So I don't know if you remember the Patriots versus Dolphins.
Week 2?
It was no. It was I forget which week it was, but it was
the one in Miami.
The second time, the game.
The one in Miami.
I was there personally, and there were 2 instances that I was really apparent. There was one time it was 3rd and goal, and Tua threw past Jalen Waddle in the end zone, and J.C. Jackson was literally probably about a foot and a half away from actually making contact with him. And Tua overthrew him by like 5 yards.
What else is new?
And
it's either underthrow or overthrow with Tua.
Exactly. And guess how they bailed him out?
They gave him a flag. Yeah.
And that's just one instance. The other instance was what's it called? It wasn't 3rd and goal, but they were in the red zone, 3rd down. And there was a very obvious 3 players in motion at the same time. And like even the Dolphins fans in the stadium were like you can't hear it on TV, but when these calls happen in time, you can hear the fans like go crazy. Like even Dolphins fans in this one, they're like, "Oh wow, that was a missed call." They were very clear 3 people.
You're saying for illegal formation?
It was illegal motion.
Illegal motion, okay.
And those are just a couple instances. So from one game, and I think they absolutely should bring challenging penalties into the game.
I've seen some with the Chiefs. I think anytime Mahomes is in trouble, they throw a flag. They're like, all right, here's 4 more downs. You could add that in. It's a possibility. Right now, they're too concerned about getting rid of the tush push that only the Eagles do. That's a big problem. That's according to them. But instead of focusing on more important matters like that, like you mentioned, they're worried about a tush push. So that's just kind of where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely. But the good thing about that is, too, if you do bring that, and they're like, there's a very solid amount of calls that are reversed with that challenge, you can almost redevelop the way the NFL referee, or NBA for that matter, training is revamped.
Yeah. I mean, I bet you the training could be better. I mean,
Well, it's just
you could improve it, but
it's tough because it's such a hard thing to call. But I
it
think
is. I mean, it's in the heat of the moment. That's full speed. Like, that's just a difficult thing. It's just a tough job.
Yeah. Well, those are our refs.
We have to kind of deal with it and just adapt. You know what I'm saying?
Adapt to the change.
You know, unless you want to become a ref and go fix it. I personally, I don't. But I mean, they make a lot of money though. So,
24/7.
but they make a lot of money. You could just tech everybody. So,
Do they really?
Yeah, I think they make good money.
I'm curious.
I'm pretty sure. I bet you. I think in bigger games, it's more money too, like finals, Super Bowl.
100%. Yeah, they make upwards of $200,000 a year.
Yeah, I mean to go ref. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I would take that.
Absolutely. Well, anything else to add to the referee topic?
That's about it. It needs improvement. That's all. Bottom line.
Just want to touch base on that, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, aside from the referees, I know we were getting into NFL a little bit there.
Yeah.
What are we thinking about some of these matchups? What are some of our predictions here?
I think we got some good games. I got them up right next to me here, and I'm looking at them. And obviously, my opinion, Super Wildcard Weekend is one of the best weekends in the NFL, if not the
100%.
best. So entertaining. You never know who's going to win. There's always an upset. I'm looking at about 3 upsets. About 3, I see. Definitely 2, maybe 3. If you want to go through it first, it's up to you.
Sure, let's do Browns Texans. Let's get some score predictions too up in here.
That's tough.
Here, let me pull up the bet odds for that game. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, for sure.
That's probably gonna be my favorite game to watch. To be honest,
I think it's the best. I between that and Lions and Rams, because that Rams team is competitive. That's one of my upsets. I think the Rams could do it. I'd hate to see it. I love Detroit. I think they're playing great ball. But that game, that's going to be a closer game than I think people think. But this
100%.
Houston Cleveland game is going to be a tough game. I mean, you got 2 good teams that are really hot right now. And that's hard to predict. I want to say Cleveland. In my mind, I think Cleveland's going to the AFC Championship. But I think there's a possibility that Houston can win that game. CJ Stroud's been balling, you know.
Oh my God, this would be. I think
fantastic.
At least going to a divisional round is a perfect cap for his rookie season.
Yeah. I mean, why put a limit on it? Take it as far as you can go. You know.
Well, we have a 2.5 point spread.
Who's the favorite? Cleveland. Cleveland's the favorite by 2.5.
Favorite.
That went down. That was actually higher before. I think it was around 5 the other day, if I remember correctly.
What do we think about the 44.5 line? Over under. What are we thinking?
I'd say over. I think minimum each team is putting up 21 minimum.
And
you know,
I say over specifically because both these quarterbacks, they throw for yards. They're not. Yeah. These aren't 200-yard quarterbacks. These are 300, 350 plus consistently.
Yeah, exactly. And if Cleveland takes an early lead, they're up, 14-0. CJ Stroud's coming back. He's proven it in multiple games this season. Come back and win when they're down.
Yeah, I'm taking that over for sure. But
yeah,
honestly,
I'll definitely take the over.
I know you like Cleveland this year, but something excites me about that Houston team.
They're
young.
Do
they have any injuries going into this week?
They're young. I don't think so. I believe they're pretty good. Obviously, Tank Dell's still out. He was hurt early in the season. But I'm pretty sure they're good to go. I did see something today. Denzel Ward had an injury in practice, the knee. So he is now questionable. That is big. That's very big. That's their number 1 corner, who's a very good corner in my opinion.
Absolutely.
One of the best in the league. So that's a tough blow for Cleveland if he doesn't play. For sure. So that that could shift that line too, that betting line.
Oh,
that's probably why it went down already.
So what was the spread before, if you remember?
I think it was around 5. It was definitely around 5.
That makes more sense than 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's down. But
yeah, I think going Houston.
I'm going to stick with Cleveland. I got Cleveland going far. I think overall it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a tough game, but I'm going to stick with Cleveland in that one. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, glad we touched base on that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, next we got Miami, Kansas City.
Oh boy, I have opinions on both of these teams. I don't like either one of them. I think the Dolphins are terrible. They beat the Cowboys, the only team above 500, and that's not saying much. The Cowboys, in my opinion, are doing what they do every year. They get wins and they lose in the playoffs. So, I'm gonna take the Dolphins. I think they are a little more dynamic. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, like a 24-21 type of thing. The Chiefs just aren't good. I don't think they're that good offensively. Their defense has kept them in games. It's definitely a better defense than Mahomes has had in the past, but he just does not look good. His receivers aren't that good. Kelsey's getting locked up now. They're double teaming Kelsey because they trust these other receivers not to catch the ball. I don't know if you picked up on that, but
they don't have anybody.
They have nobody.
You take away their weapon, they don't.
Exactly. So by this usually
way too much money.
Travis Kelsey usually has 1,000 receiving yards. He didn't this season, and obviously he didn't play last week because they were resting him. But he usually has it before that. Kansas City always rests their players in the last game of the season, so it just goes to show he's not getting as many catches because they're double teaming him and saying, all right, let's focus on the guys on the outside because they can't catch the ball or they can't get open. You know what I'm saying?
But something about Miami's defense, like they're very off and on. Sometimes they have their moments, and then other times they just, other than Ramsey, and is Xavier Howard hurt or is he still?
No, he's still playing. Yeah, he's had a quiet season. Exactly. He really fell off. He fell off.
He's been
I feel like
this year on that team.
I feel like these players on Miami fall off. They start off strong. They put up 70 on the Broncos. Like, whoop-de-doo, here comes the Super Bowl. But then they fall off. Or they had a couple injuries, too. They lost Bradley Chubb. They lost Jaden Phillips. So they did take some hits. But I think, you know what I think wins them this game? Tyreek Hill. I really do. He's come back to Kansas City in a playoff setting in Arrowhead. He has that chip on his shoulder because he was obviously traded. I think he pulls out the win for them. I really do. I don't think Kansas City. I don't think either team's good. They're nothing special. Whoever wins, they're not getting past the divisional round. In my opinion, there's just too much talent, and with these other teams, even in the AFC. I mean, whether you face Houston or Cleveland, they both beat either one of those teams. And I think the Bills beat them too. The Bills have already beaten both. So they play the Bills. I think the Bills get past them.
Yes, Xavier Howard is out for the game.
He's out. Wow. Okay. All right. What? With what? Knee? Ankle?
Foot injury.
Foot injury.
And we have Javon Holland questionable, Raheem Mostert questionable, Waddle questionable. But those are the Waddle's.
They always play. Waddle's questionable week in and week out. I've had him in fantasy before. He's always questionable. You just got to roll with it almost.
Yeah. Now,
what's the line of that game? What's the spread?
The spread is. What was I just added up?
I can get it up here too.
It was 4.5 Kansas City.
That's a fishy line.
Well, I think if the Chiefs win, it's not going to be.
Hold on, not to interrupt. I just hopped on CBS Sports here. The Celtics are down to the Bucks 73-37. Ouch.
Wow.
Ouch. I'm like, what the heck? I don't know what's going on here.
Jesus.
That's not good. Yeah. No, I'm looking.
Well, they're our competition this year, so that's not.
I don't think they're that good. I mean, the Celtics are on back-to-back. I really, the Bucks aren't all that. The Drew Holiday trade has helped the Celtics more than it did.
Oh, 100%.
The Bucks. Dame Lillard hasn't been all that.
Been doing this year? Sorry to get off topic.
Yeah, I know we got off topic. That's my fault.
No.
But I thought I would break that score.
You gotta entertain it. That's awesome.
Yeah. We had breaking news. He's averaging 25 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds per game. That's mediocre.
That's pretty solid.
It's solid. Obviously, you have Giannis in there averaging 31, 6, and 11. And so, you got a lot of hands in here. You got Brook Lopez. You got Chris Middleton. You got a lot of guys. That's the thing with the Celtics. Even the Celtics players' averages are down because there's more. There's a lot of all-star. There's a lot of number ones on one team, so you kind of have to spread the ball around, and the points go down. It is what it is.
And the
That's what you have to do to compete.
Great job of that. There aren't a lot of selfish ball players on that offense.
There isn't.
Speaking.
There isn't. These guys, all these guys are having their moments, which is tough to bet on the Celtics. I picked up on that. Do not bet on the Celtics, because it's tricky. Because one day it's Porzingis' day, next day it's Tatum, next day it's Brown. Derek White, Holiday, whatever. So, yeah, stay away from the Celtics. Well, but let's get back on topic. Back onto the Chiefs.
44 is the spread or the point line, and 4.5 spread. Chiefs favorites. What are you thinking?
43. I got 43.5 here.
43.5.
Did you round up?
Did you round up?
Oh, I don't know what you're on.
Yeah, no, it looked like a 44 line. I was curious, but
it's 40. It opened at 45. Now it's 43.5. It went down, and the spread went up. Chiefs were -3.5. Now they're -4.5. Looks like people are picking the Chiefs. I don't know. The game could go either way. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, crappy game. I really do. A lot of punts. I wouldn't. 43.5. I don't know. Honestly, that could go either way. I could see over and under in the situation.
Tough game. I would avoid this game.
Tough game. I would stay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Betting wise, I stay away. Personally, I'm not betting on any of these games. I wouldn't touch any of them. They're all too close. Playoffs are tough.
I think if I'm going to take someone, it'd probably be the over on that Browns-Texans game.
Yeah, I would take that. Yeah.
But yeah, well,
I think that's my bet's gonna those are the Saturday games.
It's tough, but
yeah,
I think I'm gonna go Miami too. Actually,
yeah.
You know what? No, I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna go Kansas City.
You got to go against me, huh?
I got to go against you.
Come on, man.
Just because I think that this Kansas City team over the last few years has reminded me a lot of the old Patriot seasons. Where it's like they get funky, and then once the playoffs come on, they turn up.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid is a really good coach.
Oh,
and I think he knows he's going to figure out a way to beat this Dolphins team, like a lot of these competent over 500 teams have been doing at the Miami.
I think anybody could beat this Dolphins team. They're not that good to what they make them to be. I can't.
Chiefs.
I can't figure it out what's wrong with this Dolphins team. Because I do like Mike McDaniel. I like him as a head coach. I just don't know what happens to this team. They just fade, and they just can't get anything done. So, obviously, I don't try not to watch
opening, but for some reason, whenever I see this team play and they get down, they stay down. They don't have that ability to energy bounce back up. That's
once they get punched in the face, they're like done.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
If they get off to an early lead, I can see Miami winning. They play really good. They are one of the best teams from ahead in the NFL.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Mike McDaniel as a head coach? Just out of curiosity.
I like him as a head coach because of the energy he brings to the team. Players really want to play for him. And he's done well, but he doesn't adapt very well to he doesn't play the other coach well. He plays the team well, but not the other coach well. Do you know what I mean? But he gets outcoached a lot.
You're saying he's more like a coordinator. He's a better coordinator than a coach.
Yeah.
I like his offensive scheme. Honestly, he's from the Shanahan tree, and we all know Shanahan runs a good offense. So, I don't mind him. I think he's got to get a little more strategic as a head coach. I mean, he's beating Belichick.
Yeah,
he beat Belichick twice. That's back-to-back seasons, isn't it? Oh, no, they won. No, last year they split. But yeah. All right.
I think we.
All right, All right. What do you think? Steelers, Bills. What's your thoughts?
Steelers, Bills. I think the Bills are going to absolutely destroy the Steelers.
Yeah.
They have been rolling, and I think Josh Allen has a chip on his shoulder.
Over under is 35.5.
I'm taking the over just because that Bills team is putting up over 30.
Obviously the Bills are favored -10.
So, but yeah, I think that Josh Allen, everybody's really been digging on him this year, especially.
He's had a rough year. He's been a turnover machine. He's been a mistake machine. He really is.
But I just don't think the Steelers team has enough talent. Even if they beat the Bills, I don't see them going far.
No shot. I mean, this game, I definitely think the Bills win it. But it's either going to be a close game, close competitive game, or a blowout. Either or. I'm leaning more towards blowout. Mason Rudolph starting the game for them. No TJ Watt. Give me the Bills, Yeah. I think the Bills absolutely mop the floor with them. So this is, and as far as the spread goes, I'm not a big person who likes these big spreads. 10 points is a lot of points, in a playoff game. That's a big line. I stay away from that stuff. Even over unders are hard to predict. If anything, I would go Buffalo money line. Only problem, there's no money in it. It's -480 right now, so there's just no money in a money line.
Yes, that's not a betting game either.
No, a lot of these really aren't. Except the close ones. The close ones are better.
Yeah, but there's not much to talk about with that game because
no, it really isn't. But I want to get you.
I want the Steelers to give them a fight, but
they could. I'm not gonna say no. I've seen crazier things happen. I've seen upsets like this, so I'm not gonna write them off. I just don't think it's very likely.
Yeah,
but I want to get your opinion on this Packers-Cowboys game. I think it's an interesting game.
Packers-Cowboys. Now,
let me give you some information. Dallas is favored by 7 points, and the over/under is 50.5. It's a big number.
Okay. I'm going to take Dallas winning, but under on that spread for sure. So
on the money line,
they're not going to cover the spread.
The 50.5.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, they're not going to.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's that high.
But I think that Jordan Love's going to put up a battle. They're going to put up a fight, that Packers team.
For sure.
And if they lose, I like what you said earlier with the, what's it called, McCarthy.
Oh, come on. Don't be
game with all that talent.
Don't be taking my takes. Come on.
I'll let you pick up from there.
Well.
But it's going to be interesting for him. But I think that Cowboys are going to win, but it's going to be a really good game for sure. I don't know if it's going to be that high scoring, though.
No, I don't think so.
Especially with that Dallas defense. And honestly, the Packers defense has been pretty good this year, too.
I think that Dallas defense died down as the season went on. I don't think every year with Dallas, they start off strong. The defense is great. Offense is great. And then they're really not all of that, I want to pull up Dak Prescott's stats on the season just out of curiosity. Because I don't think he had okay of a season. Hold on. That's career stats. Where'd that go? Here it is. He had 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 105 passer rating. Okay, he had a pretty good year. I take it back. 69 completion percentage. Yeah, he had a pretty good year. I take it back. But I feel like he's like that every year. And in the playoffs, he just chokes. But believe it or not, I am taking Green Bay in this game as an upset. This Green Bay team's young. They're scrappy. Jordan Love's had a great year. He went through a rough patch with a couple games. But any quarterback has been sitting for 3 years, and it's like, all right, you're in a loop. Here, fill Aaron Rodgers' shoes. I think he's going to have a couple rough games, in my opinion. But I still think he put up a great year. He took this team to the playoffs. I'm taking Green Bay. And when you tried to steal my take a couple minutes ago, I think
I left it too.
I think McCarthy's fired at the end of the year. I don't like him as a coach in general. I think he stinks. So when the Dallas hired him, I was like, oh, come on, man. And he's done nothing. in his tenure with the Cowboys, I think he's gone. If they don't win. If they win, they keep him. They look at it. Jerry Jones is going to look at it as, all right, yeah, great, But I don't think he survives. But there's another pathway as well. Well, let's go on to the next game. I'll go to the next game because it touches upon this. Eagles, Buccaneers.
Eagles, Bucks.
Let me get the line.
I can't tell you how much I want a Baker Mayfield Cinderella story.
Philly's favored by 3 points. That's a fishy line. Over under is 43.5. Now, here I have Baker Mayfield's career stats on my computer next to me. Okay, Baker Mayfield had a career year with the Bucks. People attack Baker Mayfield so much, and in Cleveland he acted childish, I have to say. But he had a career year. 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, passer rating of 94, completion percentage of 64.
I mean, this is what we saw what Baker can do with star receivers.
But, exactly. I mean, Cleveland, he had a rough patch. He had that great 2020 season with Cleveland. Took him to the divisional round. That's when they brought in Kevin Stefanski. But then they traded him to the Panthers. I mean, come on. Nobody is going to be successful in the Panthers right now. I can't be anybody. I don't think you can put anybody on the Panthers and expect them to be successful. That team's awful.
No, there's nothing there. Terrible organization.
Terrible owner. I mean, he's out there throwing beer on the fans, on Jaguars fans. What are you doing? Like stuff like that. There's cameras everywhere. Make smart decisions, please. You're an owner. You know what I'm saying? But 100%. I think Baker Mayfield gets cracked on a lot. Everybody's like, "Oh, he stinks," this and that. He had a really good year with the Bucks, and the Bucks have regressed. I think it's that defense. The defense regressed a little bit. The offensive line's obviously banged up. So you improve that team a little bit, these little spots. That's a good team. I think they're good right now. Honestly, I take the Buccaneers here. I think they beat the Eagles. Eagles are banged up. Eagles do not look good. And this goes into the Cowboys thing. Eagles lose. That kind of gives an easy path for the Cowboys, which could happen. Their competition is the Lions, which the Lions should have beat them a couple weeks ago when they played. Obviously, there was some bad calls in that game, which touched upon our topic earlier with the reffing. But I'm going to take the Bucks. I really don't think the Eagles pull this one out.
I really, really want a Baker Mayfield Cinderella story. He comes to Buccaneers. He's a sub quarterback for a year, like he's been bouncing around, but he ends up going to a NFC Championship. I just can't see it happening. I can't see him beating the Eagles this week.
I don't think he goes to an NFC Championship. That's without question. I don't think that happens. But the divisional round, I could see. Now, what do you think? You don't think he had a good season? What would you give?
I think
average?
He had an amazing season. 100%.
Yeah, for him, I think he threw the ball well. Like he looked good.
Well, but it's just like they got into the playoffs, but not a very difficult division they have in their hands there.
No, it's not, but it could be. Bill Belichick to Atlanta. I mean, come on.
I think that
we'll touch upon that later. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But
that's definitely.
I have a couple takes for that for some landing spots.
100%. But I'm going to take the Eagles. I don't think.
Agree to disagree.
I don't think that Bucks defense right now can. It sounds funny, just like pressure situations, but they haven't been put into a lot of situations where they've necessarily needed to take over a game and prevent this kind of a. I know they're pretty banged up, but they're still a powerhouse offense. Like that, nothing's changed.
Not lately. Not lately. They're what? They're 1-5 in their last 6 games. I mean, come on. They lost to New York. They lost to New York Giants. Jalen Hurts got benched against the New York Giants because they got blown out. I mean, come on. Going into the playoffs, that's a week ago. It's not like it's 2, 3. This is a week ago, and you looked rough. So I can't back you here. You're banged up. You're missing players. Your corners have been terrible. Darius Slay's playing terrible. James Bradbury has regressed, obviously. You can tell. I mean, Tampa's going to come in heavy. I think that defense.
They're going to come in with a lot of
Tampa
energy,
defense turns up in the playoffs. We've seen it happen before.
That's true. Well, I think I'm still going to go with the Eagles this week.
Hey, we got to write these picks down, and after the playoffs next week, when we have another episode, we're going to see who does better.
Next episode, we'll touch base on after all these games and then the next matchups and everything like that. Because
but I just want to see
the Ravens and the Niners.
Yeah, but I just want to see who did better on their picks.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm excited.
We got to make it a competition. I mean,
absolutely. It's the point of a debate podcast.
Exactly. So we got one more game. Rams Lions.
Second favorite game of it.
This is a great game. This honestly is a really
Stafford
good game.
Against the Lions again.
Returns to Detroit. I mean,
in the playoffs.
Jared Goff got traded from this team. Like, there's a storyline to this, which obviously they build up. But still, this is a great game. Aside from all that, Detroit's favored by 3. Over under is 51.5. I honestly like the over on this game.
Over.
This game's going to be a shootout. This is going to come down to the final play. This Detroit defense isn't good. It's okay. Their offense has really got them to the 12-5 season. And these Rams have been tough down the stretch. They look good. They're coming in healthy. They're healthy now. So I can see this game either way. I'm going to stick with the Lions. I like the Lions a lot this season. But I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams pull a win here.
So 3-point spread, you said?
Yes, Lions are favored by 3. Yep.
Okay, and I'm going to go with the Rams, honestly.
Really? Okay. I'm not. Listen, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised.
I love the Lions. Like, they haven't been in the playoffs in so long.
Yeah.
And I really want them to do really well. But all year, I've watched them play, and I never liked their play style. It always just seemed like they're dragging their feet in a way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, let's go. They're finally learning how to use Jahmyr Gibbs. It took them a while to do that.
Yeah.
He's the game changer in this game.
Hot take here. I think they cut David Montgomery in the offseason.
I think they're gonna keep him just because that power back and then elusive back duo is really doing well for them. That's honestly
they could go get a cheaper one.
Them this far.
They could go get a cheaper one. Either
figure
out
how to stop that run. I think they got it.
Either they're cutting David Montgomery or they're making him RB2. One or the other.
100%.
One or the other.
Is going to take over that running back.
Yeah, for sure. And as he should. He's looked really good. Yeah, he's really good.
But if the Rams are going to figure out, if the Rams want to win this game, they're going to shut down that out of the backfield run, like either that passing game or like to the running backs.
Yeah.
Or just shut down the run. And if they do, honestly, I think that the Rams are deep enough at cornerback, safeties, that they can lock up Jared Goff trying to really force something. And I bet you he throws more than – I think he's going to throw 2 picks this game. And he's not a very he doesn't throw a ton, but I bet you he's going to throw 2 picks.
Not a ton, but he could struggle. I mean,
just because I'm the Rams, I'm forcing him to throw that football.
If you forget, I mean, he got that team to a Super Bowl against the Patriots, Super Bowl 53. But think about it like this:
his old coach.
The Rams know how he plays. They know they know how to prepare a little better. Something like that. You can see something like that happen.
How did we beat that Rams team? We made them throw.
Defense. That defense
just dominated them defensively.
Oh yeah. A lot of people hate that Super Bowl because it was so defensively. I enjoyed it.
It was just such a defense. It was fun to watch because it was just.
It's a fun to watch. Yeah, you really acknowledge the defensive persona.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna take the Rams.
All right. We're gonna write these picks down. Write them down.
It's gonna be cool. How about whoever gets the most picks? Let's do a $10 bet.
Put money on it. Let's do it.
Put money on it. Whoever gets the most picks right.
Let's do it. I'll Venmo you live on the next episode.
We'll do how's this sound? Instead, we'll scratch the over unders and stuff like that. Just straight up
game picks.
Other than the Bills, which we ended up going the same way with, the point spreads are pretty similar.
Yeah, we both took the Bills. Other than that, we went different. So, which wasn't on purpose, which I like.
No, that wasn't.
Yeah, we didn't do it purposely. So, all right.
Well, those are those picks.
I want to touch upon something I find very interesting. Pete Carroll, all of a sudden, let go.
Yeah.
Out
honestly,
of Seattle.
I think he's been.
I don't understand
doing great
that.
with what he had
on
that Seahawks team, and does
for
he
sure
have a lot of control over that? I'm not too familiar with this. Does he have a lot of control over being in that GM position?
No, he gave that up. He gave that up. There is a general manager in Seattle.
When did Pete Carroll give that up?
A while ago now.
That whoever's the GM there, let me look up his name. He has been doing some really good things for that team. A couple years ago, they made some great drafts. They've been really building that team, and I think that.
Obviously, that Russell Wilson trade gets you more draft capital as well.
Oh, absolutely.
When you're rebuilding a team, and they got lucky. Yeah, Snyder. They got lucky with Geno Smith playing some really good football.
100%.
So,
but honestly, what was it? I'm starting to understand a little more because I think that there's a lot of talent on that Seahawks team.
Yeah.
And I understand they are, and it's a very tough division. Always have been.
Oh, it's extremely tough. That's a really tough division. It is year in and year out.
But it's starting to make a little more sense to me. There's a lot of talent on that team. It could be.
It still doesn't make sense to me. Pete Carroll could have been
unhappy and wanted more.
No, it wasn't Pete Carroll. He was crying. He was crying at the podium yesterday. I want to read you a statement that the Seahawks put out. I think it's honestly interesting. I'm going to read you the first paragraph. After thoughtful meetings and careful consideration for the best interests of the franchise, we have agreed with Pete Carroll that his role will evolve from head coach to remain with the organization as an advisor. Alrighty, two things. One, that means fired to me. I mean, move to an advisor. Bye-bye, fired.
Yeah, no, that's...
And here's the reason why.
That's a nice way of kicking
that's a nice way of being like, oh, we parted ways. And that set up a template for Patriots parting ways with Bill Belichick, which we'll touch upon later. Yeah. I think the Seahawks see, okay, there's a lot of good candidates out here. Jim Harbaugh, Dan Quinn they're looking at. I mean, you have Ben Johnson, Detroit's offensive coordinator. They even if they take a look at Bill Belichick, you don't know. They know there's a Mike Vrabel, another one. There's a lot of good coaches out. There's a lot of good candidates out on the market. So I think they looked at it as, all right, Pete, you're gone. We're going to get someone we like here because you're getting old. You're going to be 73 soon, and you're not doing much for us. If you were winning, it's one thing. So to me, that looks more like a firing. But out of respect for Pete Carroll, for everything he's done for the franchise, they're like, oh, we parted ways, and we think he's better off as an advisor. That's how I look at it personally. I don't know how you take it.
Honestly, I mean, I think he's still a really good coach. I mean, he's
been having good seasons. It's 14 years he's been there.
When you think of the Seattle Seahawks, who's the first person you think of?
Russell Wilson. I think of Russell Wilson.
Anymore. I think.
Okay, well, that don't matter. Who's the first person you think of when you say the Patriots or when you say the Chiefs? I mean,
currently.
All right, currently, Kenneth Walker, Witherspoon, the corner.
I think it's Pete Carroll. I think he's been the face of that organization for a while. And
yeah, obviously, and that's kind of like why get rid of him unless you see something you like better. Do you know what I'm saying?
But there's a lot of coach movement in the NFL
right now. This could obviously Pete Carroll is a defensive coach. This could dabble into maybe they're looking for an offensive coach. I mean, a lot of teams are doing that now.
That's what this game is changing towards.
Offensive coaches,
just trying to create a dynamic offense. It seems to be every team's goal right now.
Before it used to be all defensive coaches. Maybe it's a phase. Maybe they'll go back to defensive coaches in 10 years or so. Who knows? But yeah, I just thought it was interesting move, interesting statement.
Weird time. It was just
weird timing.
Really out of the blue.
You get that. You get Pete Carroll, you get Saban, and then you get Belichick. It's like, interesting, interesting. Three pretty Hall of Fame coaches. 3 Hall of Fame coaches are getting kind of bounced all in 24 hours. That's weird to me.
Well,
that's really sketchy.
Retired from Alabama, like what you were saying earlier.
Retired from Alabama. I'm like, him and Belichick are very close. Maybe Bill's like, I'm out of the Patriots. I'm out of New England. Come with me. Come be my DC like you were in Cleveland a long time ago. Let's see what we can do. That's obviously very hot take. Saban could legitimately just be retiring. I don't know though. It was weird. It was random. He's never spoke of retirement before.
Yes.
And it was like Saban's retiring from Alabama. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So looks like Saban's going somewhere. Maybe he's going to the NFL. I mean, you really don't know till you know, but we'll see. I think he might go into the NFL.
Yeah. Well, it definitely seems like I like the point you made there about switching to more offensive coaches because that's been the dynamic of the NFL over the past few years.
Lately,
I mean, think of it like this. The pocket passer has changed completely. Everybody's searching for this dynamic quarterback who can really open up the field. Like really.
Yeah. I mean, defensive players are getting better. I think it has effects
the game's evolving.
with the game's evolving. It's changing, and it should, and it does. It is what it is. But I mean, you got these defensive players who are collapsing pockets. They're getting in, getting a lot of sacks. I mean, T.J. Watt had 19 sacks back-to-back seasons. I mean, guys like that, Aiden Hutchinson, playing great. I mean, when you get that, it's hard to have a pocket quarterback, especially if you have a crappy O-line.
And here's the thing about O-line.
You're not moving the ball.
Lately in the NFL, there's a struggle for talent in the offensive line position.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of big names out there anymore.
There isn't. It's dying down. These guys aren't playing well.
Honestly, it's just – and it's becoming harder and harder to find a good old lineman out of the draft. Have you noticed that?
No.
Well, maybe I'm biased because of the Patriots draft pick a few years ago. But
well, I mean, come on. That Cole Strange was a third-round talent they took in the first round. That's just terrible drafting on Bill's part. But
that's why he might be out.
That's why he's gone. Obviously we'll get into that later. But I think your first few tackle picks usually strong. Tackles and centers are the big picks. Guards you kind of fill in. Guard people don't really care about guards, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Pete Carroll. I think that it's...
Yeah, I still think that's weird to me. Something's fishy about that. I don't get it. He took Seattle to the playoffs last year. They went 9-8 this year. I mean,
it's weird timing.
It's weird. No, that's still weird. I want to look at this. I want to see what their record was because I'm curious.
I think that
now.
Schneider just honestly thought that with the talent on the team, because he's been pretty responsible for the success of that team.
Seahawks went 9-8. I mean, you don't get fired for going 9-8 after just making the playoffs a year before. If that's the case, Belichick would have been gone last year. That's just weird to me.
I heard from this source that I'll tell you the name of the source in a second here. Where are we? This was from the Associated Press by Tim Booth, a sports writer for AP. He was saying that there was almost this power grab from
in Seattle.
Pete Carroll. Like there was, everybody knew that Schneider had a huge role in it, but Pete Carroll always thought that it was him. Not even just coaching wise, like because he used the head coach. All right, obviously, I did everything, but he also wanted to take a lot of credit for the GM position, and I think he wanted to have more power in the selecting of his teams, and I don't think Schneider liked that. And I think that coupled with the fact that Schneider probably thought that with the talent on this team, there could be a coach that could bring it out more, like maybe Belichick.
I could see that.
Like,
I really
remember what
could see
Brewski
that.
said earlier? Belichick wringing out the towel.
Ringing out the towel. I mean, come on. He comes on to ESPN, national television. He's like, Belichick, think of it like a wet towel. I'm like, that's a terrible metaphor until he got into it. It got a little better. I personally wouldn't go that route. I wouldn't talk about a wet towel. But I don't see Belichick in Seattle, especially if they got rid of Pete Carroll because of a power issue. Belichick, wherever
that's not the
Belichick
right
goes,
choice.
does Belichick, is he the head coach and the general manager, or is he just the head coach? That's something interesting, I think. But if there's power issues, Belichick's staying far from there because I think Belichick wants as much power as he can get. I think he goes more towards Atlanta or even Washington. But Washington put out, I think it was Rappaport that said it, that Washington's not interested in Bill. So I think it's between Atlanta and the Chargers. I really do. I think Bill wants to win now. I think you could do that with Atlanta's roster. You just need a quarterback, and it's not hard to get one. There's a bunch of free agent quarterbacks. The draft's pretty deep with quarterbacks. You make a move, and you got to pick. You
100%.
can move up in the draft. So, I do have a take. I want to get into Russell Wilson's future and the whole situation with the Broncos because I don't understand it, and I think I have a potential landing spot for him.
Well, with Russell Wilson, I think that it's a very Denver thing to do lately. Like, they make a lot of questionable moves.
I don't understand it, though. It's not like
Russ and Peyton aren't getting along.
No, I don't think Peyton wanted him.
No, they're not
did
getting
not want
along
him
at all.
They're gonna cut him.
But Broncos are making commitment to one over the other, and it's
the Broncos haven't been good since they won Super Bowl 50 with Peyton Manning. But I got Russell Wilson's season stats. Yeah, well, that's a whole nother story. I'm looking at Russell Wilson, and he had a good year. 3,000 passing yards, 66 completion percentage, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and a 98 passer rating. Here's the problem. He took 45 sacks. He only played, 15 games? He played 17. They sat him the last 2. He played 15 games. So,
is that an O-line problem or a Russ problem?
I think it's an O-line problem. I watched Russ. I don't think he looked bad. The talent with Denver is not that good. Jerry Jeudy has not played to what they thought he was going to be.
Clear wide receiver 1, in my opinion, this year.
Cortland Sutton was good, but you can't move a ball with one receiver. We learned that. You see that in multiple teams. In that defense, they traded away everyone good on the defense. There's nobody there. There's Satan and there's Justin Simmons who's still there, but they're not. It's just not good a defense. It's not a good team. And they were in the playoff hunt for so long because of Russell Wilson. That's what I think. I think they're doing him dirty. I really do. I don't think he deserves to get cut. I think you got to build around him. But the problem is that money. They don't want to give him. They don't want to pay him. They benched him so they wouldn't have to guarantee him his money. So if that's the case, don't give him the contract. You shouldn't give a player that big contract if you're not confident in them. That's what I think about that. But obviously they said that they're probably going to cut him. And where do you think he goes?
Honestly, again, I think that the team or the top few teams in this draft, whoever drafts Marvin Harrison, any of those teams are probably going to be in need for a quarterback of some sort.
You think so? Whoever takes Marvin Harrison needs a quarterback?
Well, what are the first few teams? It's going to be top 4, at least 100%.
Your top 4 is you have Chicago picking 1, Washington picking 2, New England picking 3, Arizona picking 4. Now,
each one of those teams,
I have different opinions.
I know you have the Justin Fields on the Bears, but I think that he's out. Did you see his press release the other day?
Come on, everybody's doing that press release. He's doing it. Derrick Henry's doing it. Everybody's thanking everybody like they're getting cut. I mean, I don't know.
That could mean they're getting cut or they want out of the organization.
Justin Fields is what has been their best player outside of DJ Moore. You spent so much draft capital in him already. They traded up to get Justin Fields. You have to remember that. They traded with the Giants in the 2021 draft. So I wouldn't cut him. I would ride it out. He's on a rookie deal. Who cares? You're not paying him. You're barely paying anything. I think Chicago's more of a coaching thing. I like their general manager. He's done a lot. I think they trade that first overall pick. Either that, because I don't think they need Marvin Harrison. I really don't. I think whatever they do, if they keep the pick, they're going to go quarterback, which they should, in my opinion. Either that, or they're going to trade it like they did last year.
I agree with that completely. I think they would trade it.
Trade it. Get some capital. Get some more first round picks for years after. Maybe a couple players. Maybe you trade for a quarterback if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if a team's trading up to number 1, they're not giving you a quarterback because they don't have one. But I don't know. I wouldn't get rid of him. That's just me.
Well, back onto the Russell Wilson thing. Then you have the Commanders, who are probably going to draft the quarterback.
They shouldn't. That's another team that shouldn't take a quarterback.
Well,
they should be taking
Sam Howell.
Number 2, Sam Howell played great, in my opinion. He got sacked.
The first few plays in the
he got sacked the most times in the league. What are you talking about? I
just want to see what his from beginning to the end Sam Howell stats.
Oh, just look at it. Look at his stats.
Because they seemed really
He's so underrated. Yeah, because of course they would. Because Ron Rivera got fired. I'm telling you, he had a good year. In my opinion, I think he looked good. Oh.
21st in the league for touchdowns, 21st for interceptions, 42 quarterback rating. What's his passer rating?
You know he had that many interceptions. Oh boy. 79 passer rating. 4,000 yards. Oh no, yeah, 4,000 yards. I mean,
78.9 passer rating. It's just like he had. I mean, average 6.4 yards.
That's a good year. I mean, come on. You're a second year. You get thrown in.
63% completion percentage isn't bad. He's good.
That's pretty good. He had a pretty good year. The only thing is the interceptions. That you can't throw 21 interceptions in the National Football League.
If I'm the Commanders and I have the opportunity to get what everybody thinks is a talented quarterback at this time, talented quarterback draft.
They got to they should trade down. Trade down and get one of the top tackles. That's what they need. Offensive line. But everybody wants to.
He was sacked
a lot.
times.
65 times. I mean, come on. And I bet you half of his interceptions were him getting hit as he threw, and it was a bobble. So, I mean, look at that. I mean, come on. That's just terrible. Get a tackle. I would focus on offensive line. They have the weapons. They have the defense. Their defense is pretty decent. You know, you need to build offensive line and your defense. That's that. You have a quarterback, in my opinion. And if that's the case,
trading down idea too. If you're not getting a quarterback, you need to trade down.
If that's the case, trade Sam Howell. Somebody will take Sam Howell all day. I would. Yeah. And then you have, obviously, you got New England next.
New England, honestly, Russ has always wanted to play for New England. Now that Belichick's gone, I don't really know if that's going to be there.
He wanted to play with Belichick, probably, but they
but if Patriots get Marvin Harrison, I could 100% see him. If Russell Wilson wants to take a smaller contract.
If no one wants to take a small contract nowadays.
I feel like Russell Wilson's different.
I don't.
That guy's he has so many
look at the deal he signed. Look at the deal he signed with Denver. It was huge. Yeah, 5 million, 5 years. How much million?
Nobody wants to give him. What was it? 5 years, 250 million, 47 million.
I want to say it was 295. I'm gonna look it up.
Sure. Maybe with incentives. But I think it was like 250 guaranteed, something like that.
I'm looking right now. All that's popping up is legit him getting cut. Oh, that's with Seattle. Oh, why can't I find it right now? Okay, I found it. Here we go. 5 years, 242 million. Oh my God. Oh my God. Imagine. That's not a guy who's taking a small contract. I'm sorry.
Honestly, I like him as a guy too.
I do too.
He's definitely going to take a smaller contract somewhere.
Probably. Sure. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be 5 years, 242 million. Yeah. I mean, he's still pretty good. He can win games for you. Um, I want to know. Where do you think he goes? Where do you think he goes? Where do you think he signs with? I already know. I think I know who, but I want to get your opinion first.
Honestly, again, like I said, it depends so much on this draft. But
No,
if the Patriots don't go quarterback, I think he's going to sign with the
Patriots. I'm going Atlanta.
I think
Falcons.
Atlanta is going to draft the quarterback.
Nope. What pick do they have? Let me look this up. I believe they're somewhere in the middle.
Were they second or third in the AFC South?
8th overall pick. They were.
Oh, that's a tough number because I don't think they would reach. I think they get somebody in the second round.
There's not going to be no one in the second round.
I think Michael Penix might drop after that.
I don't think so.
Performance. I like Michael Penix. Don't get me wrong; he's one of my.
They finished third. They finished third, 7-10. Yep, they finished third. They have the 8th overall pick. They could get a quarterback. I don't think they will. I can see them going defense, a corner. Honestly, I think they grab a corner. Maybe even a tackle. Teams like that. I mean, this draft order outside of the top 4, I can guarantee you, top 4. After that, it gets difficult. I mean, the Chargers at 5, they're going to take a receiver. They're going to take the kid out of LSU because that's what they do. Giants, I think, need a receiver too because they got nobody.
I can see them doing? I can see
quarterback.
Doing? I know.
Quarterback.
I'm going to steal
Giant. I can see the Giants taking a quarterback.
What's the Giants pick?
6th.
I can see Atlanta trading down for a team that really wants a.
Who though on this list? Who really wants a quarterback? I mean, your first 18 picks are set.
Well, Broncos.
Broncos. Yeah, they do. I can see Broncos as a team who goes out and signs Kirk Cousins. Honestly, I don't know why. I don't know if Kirk goes back to Minnesota. Does Kirk go back to Minnesota? Is the question. Do they sign him?
I don't know. I like Kirk Cousins.
I do too.
Sometimes I like Kirk Cousins.
He's another guy like he's another guy like Baker Mayfield that just gets hated on. You know, I mean,
no, for the first few games, wasn't he like the best? Didn't he have like a crazy number of yards the first few games of the season before he got injured?
Yeah, they just weren't scoring points. Chicago has 2 first-round picks. Chicago's trading down. There's no way they take that 1 overall pick. They have the 9th overall pick. There's no way. There's no way they keep that pick. There's no way. I can see some teams moving up. But about the Jets. The Jets have the 10th overall pick. Could they take a quarterback?
The Jets with the 10th overall?
10th overall. I mean, you have some good. You got.
I don't think Rodgers is going to retire.
5 quarterbacks. He's not.
I don't think that's.
But do they grab another guy?
I don't think that's on the front of his mind. I mean, it would be a great move by the Jets. 100%. Have a kid Rodgers for a year.
Just to prepare for the future. I mean,
get a
guy like the Packers did with Jordan Love. He was underdeveloped. He needed to learn. He needed to sit for a couple of years. You can do something like that, but does that piss off Aaron Rodgers like it did with the Packers? That's the only thing. Do you want to keep Aaron Rodgers happy? I would. But I'd say looking at these teams, for the first 18 picks, I think 7 could take quarterbacks, possibly. I think 7. I'm just gonna say Chicago, Washington, New England, Atlanta. I think Denver, Las Vegas, and that's it. The rest of these teams have quarterbacks.
Well,
Minnesota too. I don't know if I said Minnesota.
I think that Washington's going to take a QB. Patriots are going to take a QB.
And
I could see a couple more teams taking a QB. I think the Broncos are definitely going to take one. And honestly, I can
see Las Vegas taking one.
Las Vegas, yes. Las Vegas for sure. I'd say 5.
Because
5
Josh
teams are gonna take QB.
McDaniels brought in Jimmy G, not whoever else is going to take.
No, they didn't like that. Remember, there was a big debate about that.
He stinks. He's a backup now. He used to be good. He's injury prone. He's a backup. But I have a thing with the Raiders too. It all depends. I mean, he took the backup role well this past season. But I have a thing with the Raiders. I have a thing with the Raiders here. I got a bone to pick with them. I think if they don't give the head coaching job to Antonio Pierce, they're done. They're done. They've made this mistake once before. They made this mistake once before with I don't know how to say his name. Rich Busaka. I don't know how to say his last name. Remember him? Remember John Gruden got fired? He took over. Yeah. He brought that team to the playoffs. They loved him. The first mistake was letting him walk. They should have hired him. Now you got Antonio Pierce, who all your players love. If you don't make this guy your head coach, you just don't care about your players. They'd be stupid not to make him.
I can see the Raiders trading up for that number 1 pick. Get a QB with the Bears.
Hot take. No.
I could 100% see that.
Nope. If anything,
I would love to see
if anything, they're going to trade up from 13 to 10 with the Jets. You know why? They're going to send Devontae Adams to the Jets for a first-round pick.
Ooh.
First-round pick. If it's me, if I'm Las Vegas...
Oh, they're getting the pick, so they're not doing a little switcheroo. I'm saying a switcheroo.
Straight up switcheroo. No.
Not for the Bears. Like, I mean, they're going to obviously give somebody else the Bears.
Actually, no. Hold on a minute. They would have 2 first-round picks. They're going to trade Devontae Adams and maybe someone else for the Jets' 10th overall pick. Now, Las Vegas has 2 first-round picks to work with. Now you can either stay where you are. You can stay where you are at 10 and 13. You got 2. Or you can make a deal with Chicago and give them 10 and 13. That way Chicago would have 9, 10, and 13, which they could also move into more draft capital. I mean, you look at this list, there's a lot of possibilities with trades, I think.
What are you giving to Chicago? I like that Jets trade. Devontae Adams reuniting with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Let's be real.
It almost happened last year, didn't it? Weren't they close to a trade or something like that?
I think they were in talks. On the trade. They were talking about trade. But what I think, especially if you don't hire Antonio Pierce, if the Raiders don't hire Antonio Pierce, Devontae Adams is as good as gone. He's voiced his opinion on it. He said he wants him as the head coach. He plays for him, loves his energy, this and that. You got your star receiver who had a good year, aside from everything else, who's telling you who to pick. And if you don't listen, he's gone. Bye. That's what I think. Yeah. And then they'll just trade him. But also, you also might not get that first-round pick. Because now the Jets have leverage because they know Devontae Adams wants out. So if that happens, you have to keep that quiet because you lose leverage.
Well, I definitely think it's important because if you have a coach like that's what happened with McDaniels, nobody really liked him. He brought in a ton of different players, or the veterans didn't like him. He never got along well with Devontae Adams.
Like I told you earlier, I don't mind the Raiders giving him a second chance. I think people deserve a second chance. He had a bad stint with Denver. But the Raiders did it wrong. They gave him a huge contract. Give him a smaller contract, 2-3 years, less money. Less money. He can't. He can't be. But yes, if he wants the opportunity, so take you'll give him a lesser deal and tell him right out. Listen, Josh, you have bad track record with Denver. We're gonna give you a smaller deal. If it works out, we extend you.
Do you think
he would have jumped at it? He would have jumped at it.
Do you think that one of these teams who are in need of a head coach are going to try to pick him up?
McDaniels?
For a really small contract, McDaniels? Or do you think he's done as a head coach?
Nope, done as a head coach. I think he goes wherever Bill goes as the offensive coordinator. So I look at Josh McDaniels as your offensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons in 2024 because I'm sticking with Bill to the Falcons. I think wherever he goes, he's following him and Matty P and his kids are following Bill all day.
If he doesn't follow Bill, didn't the Bears just fire their offensive coordinator?
Yeah, he won't go to the Bears. He's not gonna. He's gonna go wherever Bill goes. He said it the other day. He said, "If Bill stays in New England, I'll go back. I'd be interested in going back." I hear that, He's following Bill wherever he goes. Atlanta. They're going to Atlanta. Maybe the Chargers. They could go to the Chargers.
I want to see him in Atlanta. I feel like that would be good because there's a lot of good talent on that team, and it's really undercoached. Team. It's pretty sad to see. Like they've used Bijan wrong all year. They don't use Drake London.
Arthur Smith. I'm so glad they fired him.
And Desmond Ritter.
Why were you keeping him around? Awful.
Desmond Ritter can't make plays happen. He's so bad.
Terrible. Please.
That's why I like Russ going to the Falcons too. So
goodbye.
If Atlanta wants to put the pieces together, you kind of hit it on the nail there.
They can either do that. Like I said, they have the 8th overall pick. They could grab a quarterback. They could grab Bo Nix. They could grab Michael Penix. One of those two guys will be available around 8.
They drafted Desmond Ritter late though. Like that was so.
They grabbed him late because he stinks. No one wants him. He looks old too. I don't know if you've ever seen Desmond Ritter. He just looks
he does.
older.
I hate the way he plays so much. I can't stand it.
Awful.
He never looks around the field.
Can't do nothing.
Here's the thing. He's just like how you play.
Would you?
You get one play. You can only throw it one way. He never looks around the field.
Would you be able to develop with Arthur Smith and behind Marcus Mariota? Like, where's the development here? There is none.
No.
There's no development there.
Arthur Smith has no idea how to coach.
Arthur Smith's a good offensive coordinator. He's another Josh McDaniels. Good offensive coordinator. Can't coach. Can't be a head coach.
I hated his offensive play style this year. There's so much talent on.
What about in Tennessee? He took the Tennessee team to the AFC Championship though. Oh, we forget about that. That was him. That was him.
No, I don't know. Because I can't.
I'm telling you,
I can't justify anything he did in Atlanta. It's just he's a horrible coach.
No, they were awful. They were awful, and they had talent too. I don't want to hear they didn't have talent.
Yeah, I don't think
three seasons,
so much talent
nothing.
On that Tennessee team too.
Nothing. There was so much. This Atlanta team. That Atlanta team had talent. It was a weak division. They should have been in the playoffs 3 years in a row. Obviously, well, Tom Brady was there, so it's a little tougher. But that Tampa team was good. So
yeah,
that's hard.
Well, yeah. Well, are there any more topics you want to touch up on? Because we're in our time here.
I think that's good. I think that's good for today. I think we got a lot of good stuff out there.
Sounds good. I think that we're gonna have some good stuff for next episode too. I think.
For sure. Especially as the rumors start coming out with all the coaching, all the head coach, general managers. Actually, yeah, that's all. Free agency is going to be good too. I think. I mean, we've said this for years. Free agency is the best time in the NFL. It's so fun.
Excited. We're gonna have some great episodes when that comes out.
For sure. Yeah. The cap space, a lot of cap space with a lot of teams. So definitely.
It'd be good for agency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Oh yeah. All right. That's episode 1 in the books. Huh?
Not too bad.
All right.
Cool. All right.
Sweet.
Well, Sugar Talk.
Episode 1. That's it.
See you next week.
Yeah. Episode 2.